The other two-thirds stated that they would return when they saved up enough money. With the release of the number of customers going to the store increased drastically. By noon, the store and the street outside became fully packed. Luckily, the street was in a remote area. Therefore, huge crowds would not impact traffic. You have offended many people this time. Tang Ruin looked at Suo Ping, confused. She found him scheming and crafty back when she met him in the mysterious realm. She had suffered a great loss. But here, Suo Ping was resolving this matter by impulse, like any average young man would. Suo Ping replied, I am merely informing the public about something I can do. There are some things that can only be done, not spelled out. You are talking about crimes. I'm not committing a crime. You're not, sure. But you've angered the public. I won't fear public anger when I am not guilty. Tang Ruin darted him one final gaze and went to greet the customers without saying anything else. Her eyes were glowing as she looked at the people coming in. Suo Ping called Muse Star Entertainment Agency. Help me release the name of the would-be champion. I will give you the name later. Well, Mr. Su, yes. Here is the thing. Miss Mew is going to cancel the contract. Do not worry. We will compensate you for the liquidated damages according to the contract. Suo Ping did not know what to say. He would have never imagined that at this critical juncture, the first to hurt him was not someone from his enemies, but the spokesperson he had hired. Cancelling the contract would become another trending topic, which would cause many negative reviews about his store. Never mind. Suo Ping did not comment on it further. Then, about the, Mr. Su, rest your mind. About the, if needs be, we will finish it according to the contract. We are sorry that we are forced to cancel Miss Mew's contract. She is not feeling well and cannot show up in public recently. I am so sorry. On the other end of the call, Song Lu apologized politely. Suo Ping curled his lips. Not feeling well? That excuse was so far-fetched that he was unable to complain. It's okay. Just follow up on the as usual. With that said, he hung up. On the other side, as soon as the call ended, the apologetic smile on Song Lu's face disappeared immediately. She would have never apologized to a wacko if she didn't know that this Suo Ping had some strong connections and assets, like Venerable the Blade and the Inferno Dragon, which spoke volumes about Suo Ping's strength. By cancelling this contract, her company would fail to make money. To make it worse, they would lose money. They had to hire some PR partners to help them restore their reputation and deal with the aftermath. Most of this expenditure would be deducted from her salary. She believed she was heading to some hard days this year. I no longer have a spokesperson. Lucky for me, my store has become well known and I can do without a spokesperson. The Inferno Dragon is my best asset. Suo Ping didn't worry too much about Mu Shuangguan cancelling the contract. He just felt sorry. When he first met that girl, she seemed to be kind. However, even before a major disaster, she would rather cut ties with him and pay for his damages. Were they so doubtful of him? Suo Ping shook his head. He went back to tend to the customers coming to his store. A young man came to the counter and said politely, "Sir, I'm here for my flame-tail hound." He had been the first to show up and purchase the top 100 package from Suo Ping. Back then, he was offended by Suo Ping's confidence, so he deliberately gave Suo Ping a third-rank flame-tail hound for the training. Not long after the young man left, he learned about the Inferno Dragon and the series of contests between him and the Primo stores that went down since the night before. Only then did the young man realize the strength of the store. This store couldn't compare to Primo, but it was much better than other pet stores. The young man regretted having acted in such a domineering manner the other day. Yes. Suo Ping remembered this young man who had engaged him with some trash talk the day before. He saw from his notebook that the young man's name was Feng Yifeng. Suo Ping told Joanna to pick up the flame-tail hound. When Peng Yifeng saw Joanna walking toward him, he was unable to peel his eyes off from her. He had never seen anyone so beautiful. Woof, woof. While his mind was lost in Joanna's beauty, he felt something had bumped into his chest. The flame-tail hound threw itself at him, he could see the excitement in its doggy eyes. "Take him to the test room," Sua Ping said. Joanna said to the young man coldly, "Follow me." Then, she turned around and left without waiting, as if the young man were merely her minion. Peng Yifeng hurried to catch up with her. A moment later, when he came out of the test room, Peng Yifeng was filled with admiration. He regretted his decision from the day before. If he had known about this impressive effect, he would have given Sua Ping his strongest pet. If he had done so, he would have a bigger chance of making it to the top 100. "Sir, thank you. I am sorry about yesterday." Peng Yifeng came to the counter and apologized. Sua Ping replied, "Since you remember what you said yesterday, then do it." Peng Yifeng appeared to be reluctant. He claimed that he would apologize in public if the effect turned out to be outstanding and that he would smash the store if not. At the moment, he could not be happier about the effect. That being said, to apologize in public. He wanted to save face. "Sir, well," he took a look. Since more customers were coming in, his face blushed even more. Sua Ping cast him a glance but said nothing. He was busy with other customers. "Sir, do you still have the championship package? I want that." Several people ran to the counter, led by Zhou Chuan who had just left Sua Ping's store. On his way, he saw the new Sua Ping had posted and he hurried to drive back. He would rather have the championship than the top 10. To become the champion, he would have to spend 100 million, which was a bit much for him, but he could make it happen. Sua Ping said, "You are too late. Someone has booked it." Zhou Chuan did not expect this. "Who is it?" "I won't tell you right now," Sua Ping refused to give a name. "Can you tell me the surname at least?" Zhou Chuan was not giving up. "Su," answered Sua Ping. "Su." That was unexpected. He had thought it would be someone from the other store, but no. That was a bit of a relief. That person surely was a child of some common rich and powerful group. "Sir, you did not lie to me, did you?" Zhou Chuan wore a straight face on purpose, trying to sound him out. Sua Ping remained calm. "You will see the name later. Or maybe, the name is already out on the internet." Zhou Chuan searched the internet in a rush. Soon, he saw the latest update from the Astral Pet Store. It was the name of the would-be champion. Soling Yu. He had never heard of it before. He didn't remember seeing this name amongst the famous young talents in the Longjiang base city. The person had to be a girl, judging by the name. "Sir, are you serious?" In disbelief, Zhou Chuan looked up at Sua Ping from his phone screen. "When she wins the championship, you will most certainly verify her identity. I cannot change other people's names, can I?" That was reasonable. Both the Astral Pet Store and Primo played high stakes in this gamble. The names on the lists they had posted would be searched by the public. It was unlikely that they could lie about the identity of those people. Zhou Chuan inwardly sighed but said no more. He felt sorry but that was all. He wasn't disappointed. After all, whether he could make it to the final round was still in question. For him, making the top 10 cut was a more reliable deal. "I understand. Bye. I will come back to pick up my pet tomorrow." Zhou Chuan waved his hand and left without wasting another second. Not long after he left, more customers arrived. Some wanted the general training, while others wanted the top 100 package. Several customers, out of curiosity, asked about the championship deal. They all received the same answer, that it was no longer available. Peng Yifeng was still standing there, seized with complicated feelings. Eventually, he worked up the courage and apologized in a loud voice when the store was less packed. Blushing, he bowed to Suiping and then ran away. After this, Peng Yifeng became a more prudent person. Suiping did not mind if Peng Yifeng meant his apology or not. However, since he had promised that he would apologize, he had to deliver on that promise. People had to be accountable for their words, and that applied to everyone. Soon, Lu Ping also showed up for his pet. Suiping told Joanna to get the shadow. The test blew Lu Ping's mind. He was sincerely convinced. Lu Ping had experienced many stunning events thanks to being part of the Lu family. Still, the training speed and effect had astounded him. He believed that with this training and his strength, to make it to the top 100 was a sure thing. Even making it to top 10 was a possibility. "Sir, the championship package, will it work?" Curiously, Lu Ping asked. He had seen the name of the person who had bought this package. He wasn't trying to fight for it. Besides, Lu Ping was fully aware of how angry the Lu family was because of Suiping's actions. He would have been beaten to death as soon as he went home if Lu Ping had chosen the championship package. At the very beginning, it was merely Suiping and Lu Yuan who were competing. However, currently the entire Lu family was confronting Suiping. Lu Ping had decided to cancel the service he had bought there. Lu Ping was heavily disguised and his entire face had been covered up. At first, Suiping found it strange. And yet, as he recalled the situation, Suiping felt he could understand Lu Ping. He admired the latter, as a matter of fact. Lu Ping had dared to go there in the teeth of the storm, so he had to be another dude with no sense of family honor. "You will see when the Elite League begins," Suiping answered. Lu Ping looked at Suiping solemnly. He felt that this young store owner was not bluffing. Besides, the change in the shadow had shocked him. He was sorry that he couldn't go along with the training there. For the first time in his life, Lu Ping felt his family was dragging him down. Previously, he had to rely on his family for protection and benefits. But this time, his family did get in his way. He knew that cancelling the training there would be a huge loss. Nevertheless, he had no other choice. Once the family head knew about this, he would be convicted of supporting the enemy, which was not acceptable in the family. Lu Ping shook his head and cautioned Suiping, "Sir, you have said words that easily offend people. As far as I can tell, the other major families are unhappy about this. Take care." He regarded those words as his sincere advice, as a way to repay Suiping's kindness for training his pet. Sure, he did pay for the training. But judging by the effect, Lu Ping knew that he was the winner in the deal. The family's connections were one thing. He could leverage that, and at the same time, he hoped to develop his own connections, such as Suiping. Suiping was an unfathomable man, and even Lu Ping could tell that Suiping's story could not be simple. That was why the other families did not crack down the store immediately. If it were any other store, they would have been shut down if they had dared to be so arrogant. For those major families, closing a store would be a piece of cake. They didn't have to take care of it themselves. Urban management could do it for them. Lu Ping still chose to cancel the follow-up service. But he explained his reasons politely to Suiping. Suiping understood it and refunded him. After Lu Ping left, Suiping went back to attend the other customers. The had stirred up a huge sensation. Many people doubted the feasibility of this deal and believed that it was a publicity stunt. Still, many people thought that merely saying those words was a display of the store's strength. Whether the store could do it or not was one thing. After all, not everyone had the courage for talking big. At around 2 in the afternoon, the store had become overly packed with customers. Joanna informed Suiping that all the spaces in the store had been taken. Suiping checked his energy points. He had made more today than the day before, totaling around 500,000 energy points. Altogether, he had over 1.3 million energy points. He didn't spend many energy points on the latest training outing since he had barely died. He had merely paid for the admission. Counting the admission alone, Suaping could have visited the Archean divinity. Unfortunately, he couldn't because he had no inside man like Joanna in the Archean divinity. He would do nothing there, other than dying. Finally, with 1.3 million energy points, he could upgrade the pool. Suaping was thrilled about the prospect. Sorry, all places are full. Please come back tomorrow. Suaping apologized to the customers. The space of the store was limited. He couldn't take in pets non-stop. That would leave him no time for training. The customers in line could not believe what they had heard. Full? Many customers had learned about Suaping closing the door, saying that the store was full. They had thought that this was a hunger marketing scheme Suaping had pulled off on the first day. How could Suaping remain so arrogant when Primo was cornering him? Didn't people say that the store owner had become desperate and decided to claim he could make a champion out of someone? Why would he close the door when business was pouring in? Was he honestly trying to make money? She worked up a smile and bid farewell to the customers one after one. Acting according to circumstances was something she had been practicing since she was a kid. But ever since her status rose in the family, she had never done it again. No one was worthy of her smiles, except for some senior people and the higher UPS in the family. Again, information that Pixie had closed went viral on the internet, causing another round of heated discussion. Before, people would usually have the view that the Pixie Pet Store had merely said the crazy words about the championship package because the store owner had lost all hope. However, the fact that the store closed in the middle of the day changed many people's views. If the store owner had lost all hope, he wouldn't have used this hunger marketing again. He would have tried his best to dredge for money. He closed the store in the day and said that all the spots had been taken. He was calm, not seeming to value money. As such, a group of people was at the moment thinking that the Pixie Pet Store was not in desperation like they had assumed. The store owner seemed able to take it easy. It looked as if the store owner had never taken the competition against Primo seriously. He enjoyed himself while the storm was raging outside. Many people had shifted their opinions about the Pixie Pet Store. They began to think that the store owner was capable. Suaping didn't know that closing the store would become a trending topic online again and that this could eliminate some of the negative reviews online. He closed the door and called the Inferno Dragon back. Tang Ruin was told to go back to the scroll. Tang Ruin was unwilling. Nevertheless, Suaping helped her in. Suaping didn't go to train the pets right away. Instead, he went to the room with the Chaos Spirit Pool. He pushed the door open. The first thing leaping to his eyes was the vast starry sky. The ground was barely visible. A well was suspended in the middle of the room as if floating in the universe. What is that? Joanna followed him in. When she saw the inside, she could no longer keep the calm look that was on her face all day long. She felt that this room contained an independent space. Once she stepped through the door, she would be in the boundless universe that she was seeing. How could someone place the universe inside this small room? This view astonished Joanna. Even for a superior god, seizing a piece of the universe would not be easy. Only those with a profound and extensive understanding of the laws of space could be capable of such deeds. As far as she knew, merely those in the Archean divinity could do this. Suaping stepped into the room as if walking amongst the stars. He didn't try to hide this from Joanna, who was connected to the store as an employee. She wouldn't harm him even if she wanted to, unless he fired her as an employee. Upgrade, Suaping said to himself. The digit indicating the energy points decreased from 1.3 million to 0.3 million immediately. To upgrade the Chaos Spirit Pool to the 4th rank, he had to use 1 million energy points. That was equal to 100 million coins. Of course, the value of this upgrade could not be assessed with money. For the system, money was just a tool to evaluate how the store was running, a mere measurement with no practical use. Suaping could have easily made 100 million from any other channel, but to make this money through the store was less easy considering all the restrictions. Luckily, given the space and fame of the store, collecting about 500,000 energy points daily was a piece of cake. With energy pouring into the well, a dazzling ray of light suddenly burst out from the chaos spirit pool. By the edge, complicated and mysterious patterns emerged and fell in Joanna's view, who was standing behind Suaping. This was the divine pattern? Joanna stood there still in amazement. At the same time, she had picked up a familiar sense in the well. It was something aged and primitive. There was just a hint of this aura, but its power was overwhelming. Joanna was confused. This aura felt like divine energy, but not at the same time. She had never sensed something like this before. Yet, she was sure that this aura contained everything she was longing for, including guidance for her to become a superior god. Soon, the golden patterns by the edge disappeared and everything went back to normal, except for the faint glow inside the well and the more delicate edge it had. Suaping was relieved when the system informed him that the upgrade had been completed. He began to check the Chaos Spirit Pool carefully. The interface of the Chaos Spirit Pool appeared in his mind. Several pieces of information were displayed. Probability of breeding a Beast Kings. 60%. Probability of breeding a 9th rank pet. 29.999%. Probability of breeding an 8th rank pet. 0.001%. Probability of failure. 10%. Suaping's eyes glowed. He felt even his blood was coursing faster. When the pool was at the 3rd level, the probability of breeding Beast Kings was merely 10%. But it was increased to 60%. With any luck, he could have a Beast King after one try. Even if he was less fortunate, it was still a 1 in 2 chance. Of course, if he was down on his luck, he could never see a Beast King. Anyways, in general, Suaping was happy about the 60% chance. Beast Kings. Even 1 out of 10 attempts would be a great deal. Suaping looked at the energy points needed. Since he was no longer a beginner, he had to pay with energy points for everything. One attempt was 1 million. The cost was the same as upgrading the Chaos Spirit Pool for incubation. The Chaos Spirit Pool for incubation was merely a platform. The Chaos Aura needed for breeding was a valuable item. Suaping knew this. He could make 1 million energy points in 2 days. I have 300,000 energy points left. I need to save them. I will make enough energy points for breeding in the next 2 days, Suaping thought. Suaping rested his mind since the pool's upgrade was done. Turning around, he saw Joanna was still gazing at the Chaos Spirit Pool in a daze. Come on. Time for the training, Suaping said to her. Joanna came back to her senses. She darted one final look at the well. She had some suspicion about the one supporting Suaping. At the moment, she had seen the tip of the iceberg, which had enabled her to develop a general idea of that person. She didn't say anything as she left the room with Suaping. Suaping closed the door. No one could get in without his permission, not even Joanna, the formal employee. Suaping went to the pet room to pick the pets for training. Having chosen the pets, he and Joanna went to the city in the demigod burial again. This time, Suaping took the Moonfrost dragon with them. He had transferred money to Solingyu and asked her to pay for the professional training. Their transaction had been counted as a deal completed in the store. But Suaping took a different approach with the Moonfrost dragon, compared with the menu followed by the other pets. He even considered letting the Moonfrost dragon consume some divine crystals and enjoy some divinely enhanced skills. Time zipped by. A night passed. Suaping had stayed in the demigod burial for several days. The Moonfrost dragon was with him this whole time. After merely one night, the Moonfrost dragon had risen to the 7th rank from the 3rd rank. Its combat strength was 7.8 at the moment. Besides, Suaping had managed to grab more divine crystals from Joanna. He fed them to the Moonfrost dragon. It had accumulated enough divine charge for all its skills. Suaping had a feeling that, after training for more days, he was sure that the Moonfrost dragon's combat strength could reach 9.5 before the Elite League. Since the Moonfrost Dragon was still in its infancy, Sua Ping had it bathe in Joanna's spring. Amid the silver scales, the Moonfrost Dragon had grown some golden ones. The color was quite dreamy. 4th rank, combat strength 7.8 and above average in aptitude is not bad. Sua Ping was training the Moonfrost Dragon as his own pet. He was happy about the progress. When Sua Ping finished training all the pets and went back to the store, the first light of morning had been cast into his store. Since the store had been filled up early the previous day, Sua Ping began training earlier and he could open the store early this day as a result. He opened the door and asked Tang Ruin to be the greeter as before. While he was free, he went online to search for some updated news. The night prior, Primo didn't come up with anything else new. Sua Ping saw some videos that people had shot. Primo's stores had been busy all the time. Apart from their flagship store, the other branch stores also had a high attendance. From the making money standpoint, Primo must have made much more than the Pixie Pet store, pocketing at least hundreds of millions. Primo was a chain store and they had branches everywhere. People that would rather not travel long distances could still find a Primo store nearby. Besides, Primo never closed and they had no upper limit when it came to the number of customers they could receive. Their flagship store was running 24 hours a day and there were always people queuing. I think they are too busy to compete against me. Or, are they happy as it is? Sua Ping looked away from all the Primo news. Since Primo was not cooking up new plans and his store was busy every day, he was content. But he knew that the truce was temporary. The day the Elite League kicked off was the day for the real fight between them. The start of the Elite League was getting closer. Same as before, Sua Ping told the Inferno Dragon to crouch by the door. The Inferno Dragon was unhappy about this new assignment. Still, it didn't complain to Sua Ping considering the past few days had been comfortable. Compared to the days when it had to fight day and night. The Inferno Dragon sure thought lying around was easy. As the door opened, gradually, customers began to show up. As per usual, soon, the street outside was jammed. People hurried over upon hearing that the store was in business. Many customers had rented a place on the street so that they could arrive as soon as the store opened. Those people were extra proactive since they knew that this store had the quirk of closing at irregular hours and they hoped they had arrived in time to get their pets trained. Sua Ping had just finished writing down the information of a customer when someone shouted in pleasant surprise, "Mr. Su, it is you." Startled, Sua Ping looked up, only to see a familiar girl standing in front of him. Su Yanning was overjoyed. When she first stepped into the street, she thought she had gone to the wrong location. Following the crowd, she went to a familiar location. However, that old, shabby store was gone and in its place was a huge building. Like a 5-star hotel or a mansion, this store had an air of luxury. Su Yanning lacked the courage to go into the store. Later on, when many people began to queue outside, she decided to go in and have a look. To her surprise, this indeed was Sua Ping's store. "Sir, the place has changed completely." Su Yanning sounded excited. Sua Ping answered with a smile, "Of course. I have to renovate now that I've made money." Su Yanning found it hard to say anything in reply. She remembered the high prices in Sua Ping's store. She could tell that Sua Ping's store had become well known to the public. She saw many luxury cars parked outside, from which she could tell that many rich people from the upper town area had made the long trip to go there, attracted by his fame. "Sir, have you increased the prices here?" Su Yanning posed her question, nervous to hear the answer. Sua Ping said to himself that he would very much want to increase them, but the heartless system would not allow him to do that. "Don't worry. The prices will never be increased." "Really? Great. How kind of you, sir." Su Yanning breathed in relief. "How delightful. Have you just come back from the barren area?" Sua Ping asked. To that question, Su Yanning nodded. "Yes, I have just come back recently." The Elite League is about to begin and I want to try my luck there. I will be happy enough if I can make it to the top 1000 and see my name on the victors list. The top 1000 would have their names printed on the victors list, which was a tradition of the Elite League's qualification trials in the Longjiang base city. At the end of the Elite League, the list would be posted on all the platforms of the Longjiang base city's intranet for everyone to see. That was part of the extensive promotion of the Elite League. Su Ping thought of something. He still had some top 10 package spots available. Do you have enough money? We have the package to guarantee making it to the top 10. Do you want it? Su Yanying didn't understand. The top 10? Are you talking about the qualification trials of the Elite League in the base city? Yes, I am. How much do you need? Not much. 2 to 3 million will be enough. Su Ping sounded casual. But that took Su Yanying by surprise. For the average well-off, 2 to 3 million would be a drop in the bucket. But for her, that was a huge sum of money. She was struggling. Ying, if you need money, I can lend you some, someone said from behind her. Su Ping looked up. It was Lan Leal who was standing behind Su Yanying. Lan Leal's family lived in the shantytown part of the base city, but her father was a famous and rich entrepreneur in the area. Her family was well endowed. Compared to those vastly rich people in the upper town area, her family was nothing. But a family asset of over $1 billion, no one could compare to them in that sector. As Lan Leal offered to lend Su Yanying some money, for the first time, Su Ping didn't dislike her offer. Do you also want this? You have the money, Su Ping asked at once. Lan Leal shook her head. She no longer held a grudge against Su Ping. They did argue at the very beginning of their interactions. But she had witnessed the quality of Su Ping's service in person. She would think Su Ping's service worthwhile no matter how much money he was charging. She didn't have to think much to understand that buying the top 10 package with a couple of millions was a good bargain. As for whether Su Ping could make that happen, she never doubted it. Su Ping could train a lightning rat to a level where it could defeat an advanced rank pet instantly. Making someone reach the top 10 sounded like an exaggeration, but she no longer had suspicions when it was Su Ping who said those words. Thank you, but not for me. I'm not interested in becoming a battle pet warrior. I'll have to inherit my family assets in the future. Lan Leal turned him down. She had no big ambitions. She would consider her life as a good one by simply taking over the family business. As for striving for a promising future, to hell with that. Su Ping felt sorry that he had to give up. She wasn't easy to manipulate. He actually thought the girl had great potential. The reason being, she had money. He could make a pig fly as long as he could receive money. While Su Ping and Lan Leal's communication went on, Su Yanying had made her decision. She shook her head to Lan Leal. I made some money during my trip this time. The merit credits can be converted into astral coins. I can afford the 2 to 3 million. Lan Leal had heard about her experience in the barren area and understood that Su Yanying's trip had been rewarding. Therefore, Lan Leal nodded and didn't insist on lending her money. Sir, about the top 10, at the moment, I am merely at the 4th rank. I wonder if that is going to be a problem. Su Yanying blushed and her voice faded away gradually. When she talked to other people, they would often praise her for being at the 4th rank. However, in front of Su Ping, she was embarrassed to mention her cultivation and rank. Su Ping chuckled. It's okay. You just have to stand on the stage. Your pet will do the rest for you. Su Yanying was relieved, but her cheeks burned up even more. The same thing happened when she was in the academy. She did nothing other than relying on the lightning rat that Su Ping had trained for her. She had won 2nd place before she figured out what had happened, and that she had slowed the lightning rat down with wrongful commands. Otherwise, she would have won the championship. Well, thank you, then. Su Yanying buried her face in her chest. She was aware that relying on her pet other than herself was a shame for a battle pet warrior. However, this was the top 10 they were talking about. That was an appealing prospect. That was an achievement that she had not dared to imagine or hope for. She could enjoy a loftier glory, more than what she could attain by winning a championship at the academy. After all, people across the Longjiang base city would be in for the elite league, and her opponents would be those star students that had long graduated, as well as seasoned explorers. If she could make it to the top 10, she would definitely make a name for herself. No problem. You just have to pay. Su Ping smiled brilliantly. Su Yanying nodded and made the transfer. Su Ping registered her information, which was the process he was more than familiar with, and asked, "Still the lightning rat?" "Yes." Su Yanying nodded. She had other pets that were more advanced than the lightning rat, such as the fallen phoenix. Still, at the moment, the lightning rat was her major pet. She understood fully how much it meant to her. After her trip to the barren area, she had learned that it was not the number of pets that mattered, but the quality of the pets. One pet would be enough to best anyone as long as it was powerful enough. Su Ping nodded. The lightning rat could easily carry Su Yanying to the top 100. Strengthening the lightning rat so that she could reach the top 10 was also easy. If he were the one to master the lightning rat, he would reach the top 10 without having to train the lightning rat again. But, since it was Su Yanying who was the master, the lightning rat's strength would be diminished a bit. He had to train the lightning rat again and take the chance to teach it to fight alone without relying on its master. Whoosh! When Su Yanying summoned the lightning rat, Su Ping's image fell into its dark eyes immediately. This man again! The lightning rat showed its teeth. Its soft fur stood on its roots. Su Ping grinned. What a nostalgic little dude! It remembered him. Tang Ruyan found this interesting. Having worked there for 2 days, she had met many violent-natured pets. However, they did behave after their masters comforted them. It was surprising that a lightning rat was making chaos there. Listen. Be good and do not add trouble to my work. Tang Ruyan snorted. She unleashed her 7th rank energy toward the lightning rat. If it were another pet, even one of the demon family would dread her. On the contrary, the lightning rat seemed to be more worked up. Good. You've found a helper, hey. The lightning rat used the thunder shadow image at once, and several lightning rats fled to different directions at the same time. Tang Ruyan could not believe her eyes. This was an advanced skill of the thunder family. Su Ping didn't think that the lightning rat would react so strongly. He looked at Su Yanying, who was in shock and at a loss about what to do. He had no other option but to tell Joanna to come out of the pet room and fetch the lightning rat. He didn't want to see this rat jumping up and down in his store, breaking things and scaring his customers. Joanna received Su Ping's instructions. She darted a casual glance at the electric arcs sparkling in the store. All of a sudden, a ray of golden light broke out from her. One of the electric arcs disappeared and Joanna picked up the lightning rat. She picked it up by the neck. The lightning rat! Who is it that grabbed me by the neck? Take it inside, Su Ping ordered. Joanna carried the lightning rat away. Astounded, Tang Ruyan looked at how Joanna had subdued the lightning rat in an instant. Su Yanying breathed in relief and apologized at once. Sir, I am so sorry. Don't worry about it. Inwardly, he was thinking that the rat must have lived too comfortably around Su Yanying. It was so bold that it wouldn't even listen to its master. To some extent, this was good for Su Yanying because her weak commands would have a less negative impact on the lightning rat. Yet, in the longer term, if this went on, it could backfire on her. Su Ping knew what the lightning rat was like. It had followed him and survived mountains and oceans of corpses. The lightning rat was vicious and could be as violent as the advanced pets of the demon family. I must teach it a lesson. The rat will get out of control at this rate, Su Ping murmured to himself. After Joanna took the lightning rat away, Su Yanying and Lan Liel also left. Su Ping then went back to see other customers. Soon, Another returning customer arrived. "Sir, I'm here again." Ye Hao was wearing a famous brand's leisure wear which added a graceful feeling to him. Sui Ping's eyes glowed in anticipation when this little wealthy man showed up. "Have you gone to the barren area? I had not seen you in a while." "Well, sir, have you heard about the mysterious realm? I went there." Ye Hao kept a casual smile while the pride in his eyes was obvious. Usually, for students, to be able to visit a barren area after graduation would mean the students were outstanding. But the mysterious realm was a different story. Some senior explorers did not even have the right to go to a mysterious realm. There, advanced battle pet warriors were everywhere. Even titled battle pet warriors were not a rare presence in a mysterious realm. Sui Ping understood it. So, Ye Hao went to the mysterious realm. "How was it?" Sui Ping asked. "It was fine. I was just tagging along to see the world and gain some experience. I also took the chance to check my abilities in the dragon bones." Ye Hao sounded humble while the pride in his eyes was still visible. "Oh." Sui Ping was interested to hear the words dragon bones. He wondered how things had changed after he left. If someone had gone to the 9th dragon bone, he would know through the mark in him. The dragon bones can test people's abilities and there are 9 in total. Before, no one had ever climbed to the 9th dragon bone. Those who could reach the 7th dragon bone would be considered rare talents. With a smile, Ye Hao went on, "I wasn't prepared and I wasn't capable, so I barely reached the 4th dragon bone. Sir, if you were there, I suppose you could at least reach the 7th dragon bone." Ye Hao had never intended to compete against Sui Ping. Sui Ping was a freak. He could use the skills of a titled battle pet warrior at such a young age. Ye Hao had never met someone like him. Though he could not compare to Sui Ping, Ye Hao was better than a lot of his peers. The number of people that could climb to the 4th dragon bone was few and far between. Aside from the well-trained talents in the major families, few others among the young people could have done that. The 4th one. Sui Ping didn't realize that this was the best Ye Hao could do. "You must work harder," Sui Ping tried to encourage Ye Hao. Ye Hao curled his lips as he saw that caring look on Sui Ping's face. He should have known that talking about cultivation with Sui Ping would hurt his pride. Ye Hao decided to change the topic. "I have just come back and got to hear the news. You're competing against Primo, right? The Liu family is behind this Primo. The Liu family is not that powerful but they can be regarded as half a local tyrant in the Longjiang base city. You must be careful." "I know." Sui Ping nodded. He would remember Ye Hao's kindness. "Can I buy the type of training you used on the lightning rat?" Ye Hao shifted to another question. He remembered the lightning rat very well. He asked Su Yanying about it and found out that the lightning rat was a common specimen that only grew to such a scary degree after being trained in Sui Ping's store. The outcome of such training was unexpected. The thought of using that type of training on his thunder basilisk gave him a thrill. Sui Ping nodded. "That is a professional training, which is now open to some people. Since you are one of my old customers, naturally you are eligible to buy this preface. Besides, we still have the top 10 packages available. Are you interested?" Top 10. Ye Hao had learned some news about Sui Ping's store before he went there. He knew that not only had Sui Ping claimed he had the top 10 package, he also declared that he could guarantee someone could win the championship. It was because of such an announcement that Sui Ping had angered many forces. The Ye family was one of the furious families. Those that were casting covetous eyes on the championship were hopping mad. They all clamored that they would go and smash Sui Ping's store. But they never turned their words into actions because of some concerns. Ye Hao was committing a crime by going to Sui Ping's store at this time. Well, Ye Hao pondered about it. With his great-grandpa supporting him, other family members should not hold him accountable just because he went there. Besides, he was fully aware that his strength was the only thing that mattered. If he missed a chance to make himself stronger just because of concerns about what other people might say, that would be foolish. Sure, no problem. Ye Hao made up his mind. He didn't know if he could make it to the top 10 or not. He had done some research on the top 10 winners of the past Elite League. Given his current strength, he could make it to the top 100, but reaching the top 10 would be a stretch. Nevertheless, this package was better than the common training. In Ye Hao's view, spending more money naturally meant he could enjoy better services. Therefore, he would only choose the pricey one. That was how he spent his money. Good. Su Ping smiled. At the moment, professional training in the store is only limited to middle rank and low rank pets. It's not available for advanced pets just yet. You will have to wait if you want to train your Thunder Basilisk. Ye Hao didn't see that coming. He wanted to train the Thunder Basilisk, his major pet. Well, he was hesitating. But since Su Ping was not going to make an exception, Ye Hao had to agree. Fine, he said. Having settled the deal with Ye Hao, Su Ping received more customers and time flew by during this process. Soon, there was no more space available at the store. That day, Su Ping received some of the other old customers that were students of the Phoenix Peak Academy. But they were part of average households and could only purchase the general training services. The mysterious realm closed in advance and the Elite League was about to commence. The students that visited the barren area came back one after another. Su Ping would see some familiar faces now and then, including Zhang Baoxing and Lu Pengfei, who were always the first in line. Su Ping did miss those old customers. Nevertheless, rules were rules. He had to apologize and close the door. The customers had grown used to the store's irregular working hours. This was the third time already. The first 2 times could be considered a show, but the third time meant this was a common occurrence. That time around, fewer people complained. They just left, feeling sorry for themselves. What could you do when the owner didn't want to take your money? There was nothing they could do when the store was so weird, they could only come back earlier next time. As per usual, after he closed the door, Tang Ruyan went back to the scroll while Su Ping and Joanna went to train the pets. It was more like Joanna taking care of the pets than him training them. He was bathing in the spring, working on his fist. He asked Joanna to find him some sparring partners to guide him in his cultivation. With the help of the spring and the guidance from those gods, Su Ping's understanding of the fist of exorcist deepened and he moved closer to the first rank of the skill. Su Ping took the Moonfrost Dragon with him every time he went to train. At the moment, the Moonfrost Dragon's combat strength had leaped to 8.5. In that cultivation plane, Su Ping realized that given his current resources, to train a pet to have a combat strength of 8 or 9 was easy. However, past that point, even an improvement of 0.1 would be hard. He did some calculations. He still had time before the Elite League. The Moonfrost Dragon was capable of making it to the top 10 as it was. Time zipped by. Soon, the start of the Elite League was just around the corner. 3 days before the day of the game, all the platforms were publishing information about the Elite League, including the site view, some videos, and live streaming. The qualification trials were much anticipated. The entire Longjiang base city would have tens of millions watching the game. All the TV channels were reporting news on this. Amid the people's growing enthusiasm, the game's kickoff was getting near. During this time, many customers were still visiting Su Ping's store. The same could be said for Primo. Their competition had died down. The 2 stores had to take care of their businesses all day long. It seemed that they were too busy making money to compete. Someone favoring conspiracy worked up the theory that the 2 stores had ganged up to fake their confrontation to stir up some attention. Of course, such idiotic words could not stand when someone gave reasonable arguments. If they had faked the competition, they wouldn't have to go so far as to use the words top 10, top 5, or the championship. After the Elite League ended, they would have to give a satisfactory answer to the public. If they didn't tread carefully, they could lose business and end up with a tattered reputation. For an old store like Primo, such actions were unnecessary. As the game approached, the discussion over the two stores faded away a bit. At the moment, more people were focusing on the participants with a higher chance of winning. Voting activities where people chose who could win the top 10 places were ongoing across the online platforms. The ones with more votes were usually the past top 10 participants in the previous elite leagues. Naturally, they no longer considered those who had grown too old or were no longer eligible. Some participants with the right age and rank were at the center of attention. The participants with more votes had become famous after the media reported their names and information. At the academy, Zhang Xingyu was somewhat of a campus belle. Her look, her figure, and her family were all extraordinary. Her grades were not as good as Solingyu's in the academy, but she was among one of the best. Recently, people had been heatedly discussing the competition between Primo and Pixie. Both stores had published some names of customers buying their packages. Pixie had released the name of the would-be champion, Solingyu. Some nosy people had even dug out Solingyu's pictures and information. As such, Solingyu had become somewhat famous in the Longjiang base city and received some attention. After seeing that the conceited person aiming to become the champion was such a beautiful damsel, many grumpy onlookers chose to forgive her at once. What else could they do when she was so adorable? Many had even become her fans and supported her online. At the moment, Solingyu and Zhang Xingyu were going through the voting activities of various platforms. Solingyu's situation was not promising. She only had a bit over 30,000 votes backing her, putting her at number 82. The 10 people with the most votes each had at least 1 million votes. Solingyu blushed. Su Ping had gotten her involved and named her the would-be champion. But people's voting told her that few were taking her seriously. They were seeing this as a drama play. This embarrassed and frustrated her. Su Ping sat behind the counter. Although he was some distance away, his abnormal body enabled him to hear the girls' conversation. He looked at them as he wiped his hands and then the counter with the rag. Since few people were in the store, he walked to them. You win with your strength, not because of those votes. There's no point in looking at this, Su Ping sulked. He sat down next to them. He needed some rest as well. The Elite League was just around the corner and the number of people coming had begun to decrease. Many were making their final preparations. For the past couple of days, the places with the most business were not the pet stores, but battle stadiums. Almost all the battle stadiums had been fully booked at all times. Zhang Xingyu gazed at Su Ping with admiration. She had met him when he was still teaching in the academy as an advanced teacher. It was rare to see a teacher so young. He had to be outstanding to become a teacher, an advanced teacher when he was almost as young as the students. When the Berserker Blade Academy went to challenge them, Su Ping stood up and defeated them easily, which left a deep impression on her. Him flying across the venue had stunned everyone. She was envious that Solingyu had such a brother in her life. I would rather see you learning from Master Wu than wasting your time looking at these boring votes. Master Wu is a titled battle pet warrior. He has enough knowledge for you to learn for a lifetime. Su Ping still sounded grumpy. Solingyu was surprised. How did you know Master Wu is? She thought she was the only one who knew. When Master Wu's lesson stretched for long, her mom would tell him to stay for dinner. Su Ping never showed respect to him, as if he had no idea how powerful Master Wu was. But he did know. Then, why would Su Ping treat Master Wu so casually? Su Ping sneered. He is teaching you healing skills, but you can also learn something from him regarding battles. He is a titled battle pet warrior, you know? Learn from him and ask him about anything you don't understand. It's not like people can have titled battle pet warriors as teachers all the time. Solingyu sat there still. Her brother had never asked her about her studies and never expressed any interest in her teacher. She didn't realize that he knew about him and what she was learning. You, she glared at Su Ping. Are you stalking me? She wondered. Piss off. Angrily, So Lingyu looked away. Zhang Xingyu found those two funny, but she just wore a light smile on her face without laughing out loud. Her eyes were sparkling as she looked at Su Ping. She felt that Mr. Su appeared to be more real, more approachable this way. Looking at the 2 cups of juice on the table, Su Ping said to them, "Finish this and go back. Don't always come to the store to waste your time." So Lingyu turned around to face him. "Isn't my Moonfrost dragon with you? How are you expecting that I train without my pet? Anyway, what did you do with my pet? I found more golden scales. Have you been feeding it hormones?" Su Ping rolled his eyes at her. "I think your brain has been filled with hormones. Your brain is eating hormones. You are. You're the one eating hormones. You. Quit it. We have guests," Tang Ruyan said, pulling a long face. She couldn't stand the two anymore. Zhang Yuxing sat between them, smiling embarrassingly. Su Ping snorted. He left to receive his customer. So Lingyu picked up her juice and drank it up. "Xingyu, let's go. I will go back and cultivate. We don't have to stay in his store," she said, panting with rage. Zhang Xingyu forced a smile. She left with So Lingyu although she was unwilling. Before she went out, she darted some extra looks at Su Ping. After Su Ping sent that customer away, Tang Ruyan moved closer and teased him. "The girl with your sister, I think she is into you." "What do you mean?" Su Ping asked. "She likes you." Tang Ruyan grinned. Su Ping replied, "Is that strange? I'm handsome. Lots of girls like me." Tang Ruyan's mouth twitched. "He's so shameless." Su Ping sized Tang Ruyan up and down curiously. "I haven't had the time to ask you this. Are you really a future family head of the Tang family? You've been on display for days. Why isn't anyone coming to pick you up? You are on display. Your entire family is on display." Tang Ruyan was fuming with rage. Su Ping patted her forehead. Immediately, she quit arguing, but she still glared at him. Su Ping had become used to seeing this look on her. "I think the Tang family is just so-so. Their future family head is missing for so long and I'm not hiding it, but they have yet to show up. How disappointing." Tang Ruyan ground her teeth. Who can tell what kind of remote and backward place this base city is? Gee. Su Ping shook his head and left. Tang Ruyan stumped her feet in wrath. When she first went to Su Ping's store, she thought the Tang family would track her down in no time. However, 1 day had passed and then 2 days. A week had passed, but she had seen no signs of the Tang family. She wondered if she had covered up her face too well with the veil in the old days, and because of that no customer among the countless people she had met recognized her. That was hard to believe. The only explanation she came up with was that Su Ping's store was in a too shabby place. How could those puny insects recognize a phoenix? 3 days whooshed by. Amid people's discussions and avid anticipation, the qualification trials at the base cities had finally begun. In each base city, the qualification trials would be held in several stages. First, the primary matches. Branch venues were set up in the different zones of the base cities for the primary matches. In total, there were 12 branch venues in the Longjiang base city. The zones in the upper town area had 10 branch venues in total, whereas merely 2 were in the shantytown area. As a matter of fact, the shantytown area was not smaller than the uptown area. If anything, the former was larger than the latter. However, due to a lack of resources and talents, merely 2 branch venues had been set up in the poorer area. Therefore, people in many zones of the shantytown would have to hurry overnight to where the venue was. One of the venues was in shantytown's richest zone, the Crescent Zone, the other was at the gun control zone where the shantytown government offices were. Su Ping didn't plan on running his store on that day. 2 days before the official start of the competition and business had dropped considerably. He looked up information about Primo, and it was the same for them. As for the other pet stores, they were worse off. They were basically deserted. Given the current situation, this was not because Primo conjured up some sabotaging plans. Therefore, Suaping stopped worrying. The day prior, merely a dozen people had shown up in Suaping's store. The service prices in his store were high. Even for general training, the charge was 100,000 per round, which was several times higher than the prices at Primo. Some people wanted to return but they lacked the money. Those passers-by that had never gone into the store were scared away by the whopping price. Besides, since the competition was approaching, making efforts at the moment would be too late. They never thought it was possible to achieve any progress by relying on one pet store for a day or two. Training took time. It wasn't like the pets could grow just because they took a lesson. As such, most people chose to go to battle stadiums to train, which would give them more confidence. Let's go. I'll give you a ride today. Early in the morning, Suaping locked the door and told Joanna, who couldn't leave the store, to stay inside and spend time with some pets or to go back to the nursing pen. As for Tang Ruyan, Suaping kept her inside the scroll lest she would squabble with Joanna. Tang Ruyan was naturally unable to defeat Joanna. However, on the off chance that she enraged Joanna and got herself killed, Suaping would lose a perfectly fine, dedicated temporary employee for his store. Solingyu was surprised that Suaping was closing the door and did not plan on taking any business. She knew that Suaping could pocket tens of millions a day. Even when business was slow those last couple of days, he could easily make millions daily. Was he giving up on money? She felt sorry for him and her. The store was Suaping's but he was her older brother. So, what was his was also hers. I can go by myself. I'm not a kid. You don't have to drop me off, she argued. That's not up to you to decide. Suaping sounded impatient. Do you think I want to waste time on this? You are the upcoming champion. Countless people have their eyes on you. Primo has been quiet recently, but since the game is beginning, they will be up to something behind our backs. If they kidnapped you, knocked you out, and carried you away so you missed the primary match, how do you suppose I can keep the store running? Solingyu was still a student and a green hand in the elite league. Only then did she realize the gravity of this matter. She shuddered with fear at the thought of such a possibility. Law was not closely enforced nor followed in the shantytown area. There were some roads without surveillance cameras. Even surveillance cameras wouldn't help much. For Primo's powerful reach, surveillance cameras could not hinder them at all. I understand. Solingyu nodded. She began to take this matter more seriously. Suaping went to the street where a car was parked. Wu Guansheng had stayed late for the lesson the night before. At dinner time, Suaping told Wu Guansheng to prepare a car for him and it arrived at night. It was an explorer's car with the best setup, which was bullet and shock-proof. Not even rocket shells could blast the car open. Let's go, Suaping shouted to Solingyu. She got in as requested. Suaping fumbled around the steering wheel for a long time before he found where to insert the key. It was very well hidden. Solingyu got nervous right away. Even finding where to insert the key took him such a long time? Was he serious? Do you know how to drive? I think you haven't even taken driving lessons to get your license. Solingyu was stressed out. Suaping didn't seem to be bothered. It is just driving. I am experienced in this. A driving license does not matter. All of a sudden, Solingyu felt having Suaping go with her was more dangerous than her traveling alone. We can call a cab, you know. Sit tight. Here we go. Suaping hit the gas without saying anything else. The car dashed out. Solingyu fastened her seatbelt at once. When they reached the place where their family stayed, Suaping stopped the car, rolled the window down, and shouted to their mom. Soon, Li Qingru hurried out and said to her two children in the car, I'm glad that you're giving your sister a ride. I will worry less. Li Qingru knew that Solingyu was participating but not the fact that she was going to be made the champion. After all, Li Qingru would rarely search the internet, and to avoid making her worry, Suoping told Solingyu to keep it a secret from Li Qingru. Mom, Suoping wished to speak but stopped on second thought. Drive safely and listen to your brother. Li Qingru smiled. Mom, stay at home and don't go out if not necessary. Just watch TV or you will miss her match, Suoping told her. I know. You don't have to tell me. Li Qingru laughed. Suoping said bye and rushed away. Shocked by how fast Suoping drove, Li Qingru shouted, "Aie, slow down." The car had already vanished from view. Li Qingru heaved a sigh. Oh my, I can never stop worrying about them. The Crescent Zone. This was the rich zone in the shanty town. Its prosperity could be sensed from the cleanliness and by how well the roads had been built. Many luxury cars were traveling on the road. Suoping meandered through the traffic and followed the navigation cues to the branch venue for the initial match. So many people. The huge number of luxury cars crowding the road stunned Solingyu. They were all traveling in the same direction, the venue. They were either participants or spectators. Suoping nodded. He could sense how excited people were about this grand event. It would usually be a 2-hour drive, but it took him 4 hours this time. Luckily, Suoping left early so they made it to the main pathway. Suoping was relieved since no one had stopped them on the way. That being said, if not on the way, then the plan to sabotage them would certainly happen at the venue. He wondered if Primo would set up the trap there or after the first match. Soon, Suoping parked his car. The road was jammed. He couldn't move another inch. They got off and marveled at the sea of people. This was just the starting match of one zone, and yet, quite a lot of people had shown up. Wouldn't it be more exaggerated when it came to the latter round and the final match? Someone shouted, "Move, move! Get out of the way! My son is a 6th rank battle pet warrior. He will most certainly get into the top 1000. Do not get in his way. You cannot afford it." Suoping turned around, only to see the crowd parting to clean up a path for someone. A middle-aged man that appeared to be an overnight millionaire with a golden necklace on his neck and a designer's watch on his wrist was exploring the way with a chubby middle-aged woman accompanying him. Following them was a skinny young man with rosy cheeks. He's a 6th rank battle pet warrior. Solingyu was taken aback. She didn't expect that a random person she had met here was someone 2 ranks above her. Suoping took one glance and looked away. He didn't seem to be concerned. Nothing strange. I can tell that he just reached this rank because of some potions and materials. I suppose he has never visited the barren area. The only battle experience he has is limited to training in a battle stadium, which is of no use. Solingyu could tell that this young man lacked the ferocity that she would find in the explorers hunting in the barren area. All of the explorers had sharp eyes like wolves. That chubby middle-aged woman bedecked with jewels shouted to Suoping and Solingyu, "You, kid, make way." Solingyu was just about to step to the side when Suoping grabbed her shoulder and leaped up into the air. He was flying her to the venue. When could they arrive if they had to push their way through the crowd? And a second before, they were scolding the 2 young people for blocking their way. Wonderful! The middle-aged couple turned ghastly pale, trembling non-stop. If this titled battle pet warrior had a short temper, he could have slapped them to death, and they wouldn't even have a chance to seek help. In a base city, titled battle pet warriors enjoyed the ultimate power to decide life and death. After Suoping and Solingyu were far away, those present finally came back to their senses but remained in shock. They had seen a titled battle pet warrior in a branch venue. How intense the competition was at this year's Elite League. Suoping carried Solingyu and went past the crowd as he soared. Luckily for Solingyu, she was a fan of wearing jeans, and that was what she wore that day. Otherwise, she would have fallen victim to an embarrassing accident. Along the way, more and more people noticed the two flying across. All of them were rendered speechless from the shock. They could rarely see titled battle pet warriors in their daily lives. When people did see titled battle pet warriors, they would usually be flying in the sky, which was as uncommon as seeing a civil aircraft flying. In that day and age, technology had progressed by leaps and bounds. Still, civil aircrafts were few and far between. Most of the airplanes were fighter planes. The reason being, there were a large number of flying pets in the wild that could have easily taken down any aircraft. When people wanted to travel to their base cities, they would either drive by themselves or take the subway. Outside the subway tunnels, equipment to detect beasts of the stone family had been set up. A special sonic wave generating device was installed to repel the beasts. As such, the subway was usually safe. Looking down on the densely crowded luxury cars and people, hearing the wind howling in her ears, Solingya was amazed. For the first time in her life, she could enjoy the privilege unique to titled battle pet warriors and had a taste of the benefits that came with powers. A yearning for power took shape in her. Quickly, Suaping had flown over the crowd and landed outside the venue where many people were packed like sardines. They were all waiting for their turn to register their names and enter. Suaping landed by a planter. Him flying down from above caught the attention of the surrounding people, creating quite a stir. Those helping with the registration by the entrance saw that as well. One of those people called out in surprise. "Mr. Su!" She waved at Suaping. Suaping looked over. Unexpectedly, he knew one of the workers there, Chang Shuanglin from the Phoenix Peak Academy, Solingyu's class advisor. What was she doing there? Suaping took Solingyu and flew toward Chang Shuanglin. "Mrs. Cheng?" Suaping asked, "You're here, too." The municipal committee needed more people to help keep order at the Elite League. "I joined the municipal committee a long time ago, so the academy assigned me here," Chang Shuanglin said to Suaping and Solingyu with a smile. She was aware that they were siblings. Chang Shuanglin had at one time had some negative views about Suaping. However, after witnessing what Suaping had done when the Berserking Blade Academy went to challenge them, her negative opinion of him had turned into complete admiration. Upon finding out that Solingyu was Suaping's sister, Chang Shuanglin had been giving some extra attention to her. Chang Shuanglin's answer cleared up Suaping's confusion. It seemed that Chang Shuanglin was half a civil servant, which was a career path that most teachers would seek. They didn't have to fight at the risk of their lives in the barren areas, and at the same time, they could receive retirement pay to lead a comfortable life. "You must be here for the match. This way. You are more than entitled to go through this channel." Chang Shuanglin pointed at a corridor by the side to Suaping. Fewer people were lining there, and guards were standing by the corridor. "That is." Suaping was baffled. "You can say that is a VIP corridor, specifically prepared for participants with a higher chance of winning or having strong connections. If the participants' companions are advanced battle pet warriors, they can go in through there as well to save time," Chang Shuanglin explained. Suaping understood. In any place and at any time, the powerful would have special rights. "Are both of you participating?" Chang Shuanglin blurted out. She sized Suaping up and down with curiosity. She had seen what Suaping was capable of with her own eyes. If he were to participate, there was a big chance that he would win. Suaping shook his head. "No, I won't be taking part. I'm only dropping this squirt off." Solingyu rolled her eyes at him. "This squirt? I have a name, all right?" Fine, he didn't have to say her name, but she was his sister. He could have said that. Chang Shuanglin was surprised. "You are not." To her disappointment, Suaping nodded as an answer. If Suaping were to participate and win the championship, the Phoenix Peak Academy would have become more well known as a result. She had graduated from the academy and was at the moment working at the academy. It was her ardent hope that the academy could benefit from its association with Suiping and attain a higher rank amongst the famous schools. Mrs. Cheng, time for us to go. Solingyu bid farewell and rescued Suiping from this situation. She had tried to persuade Suiping to participate many times and stopped trying after she saw how determined he was. Cheng Shuanglan showed a polite smile, slightly embarrassed. Of course. I will write your names down. Okay. Solingyu nodded. Suiping rolled his eyes. Why was she never this obedient to him? She could have faked it with him. At least, that would be pleasing to the eye. Soon, Cheng Shuanglan finished registering them and showed Suiping and Solingyu to the corridor on the side. She said goodbye to them soon and went back to her post. Suiping and Solingyu went ahead. Not long afterward, they reached the inside of the stadium, a place that seemed to be like the spectator area. The spectator seats were arranged in 8 different zones, and there were 8 corresponding corridors. Suiping was standing in one that said A1. Suiping looked around the venue. The other seating zones were full, while few people were sitting in the A1 zone he was at and the A2 zone. How interesting! Even before the matches began, the participants had been divided into different levels at the registration. Of course, the participants' background was the only standard for the moment. If people were to hire an advanced battle pet warrior to accompany them to go and register, they could have entered the A1 zone as well. It was just that most people would not go along with this pointless expenditure. Wherever people sat, they would have to go through actual battles that relied on their strength. Let's go and find a place to sit down, Suiping said. He saw some drones flying above, and many banners of various media were hanging down from the drones which had to be set up for live streaming. Suiping still remembered Fei Yanbo's abyss snake. He wondered if the snake had withered. It is you, Fei Yanbo was filled with mixed feelings after running into Suiping there. What a surprise! Suiping had crushed him back at the exchange match, and he became aware that this young man could fight like a titled battle pet warrior. Suiping was the only one with such abilities at such a young age and thus had left an unforgettable impression on Fei Yanbo. Mr. Su, how have you been? Fei Yanbo produced a forced smile. Standing behind him were some young people with an imposing manner. But once they saw Suiping, all of them dialed down their momentum as if frightened. Suiping looked around. He was familiar with almost all of them. He still remembered Luo Fengtian, the young man who had angered him, as well as the others, except for a girl that he had not seen that night. She was tall and slender, with her hair in a ponytail. This girl struck him as quite natural and capable. Are they the participants from your academy? Suiping asked. Luo Fengtian and the other students lowered their heads and said sir as a way of saluting. Though they were older than Suiping, they had to admit that Suiping was more powerful than they were. The academy exchange match was still vivid in their minds, as if only a day had passed. The girl with the ponytail found it strange that Luo Fengtian, who normally stood straight with pride, would adopt a humble attitude all of a sudden. Baffled, she looked at Suiping. No matter how she looked at this person, she felt he was younger than she was. Why was Luo addressing this person as sir? Yes. Fei Yanbo nodded. Are you here to participate as well? As this question slipped out from Fei Yanbo's mouth, Luo Fengtian and the other students who knew Suiping appeared to be intimidated. If Suiping were to fight and they met him on stage, they would have to surrender immediately. They would never be able to win against him. Suiping shook his head. I am not. I just brought my younger sister here for some fun. Your younger sister? Only then did they notice Solingyu who was sitting next to Suiping. Theoretically speaking, a girl as pretty as Solingyu would have caught people's attention. However, since she was with Suiping, people had neglected her. Fei Yanbo looked at Suiping in surprise. He could tell immediately that this girl was at about the 4th rank. He recalled that the girl had fought against his students and lost. He didn't know that the girl was Suiping's younger sister. The gap between their ages did not seem to be huge, but the gap in their strengths. Fei Yanbo took his eyes off from Sol Lingyu and nodded to Sui Ping. Since you're not participating, then let us watch the games together. Sure. Sui Ping didn't turn him down. Fei Yanbo sat down in the empty seats next to Sui Ping. Luo Fengtian and the other students wished they could stay further away from Sui Ping. Still, since their teacher had sat down, they would have to stay there. Sol Lingyu darted a glance at Fei Yanbo, sulking. She could read people accurately. This man had clearly left some criticism against her unspoken. What a mean man! How could a teacher do this? Having taken his seat, Fei Yanbo posed another question with a smile. Mr. Su, do you know what the test is going to be in the initial match? They had fought as opponents the previous time, but a feud had not been formed. Besides, Fei Yanbo would never try to make an enemy of Sui Ping, who was such a young titled battle pet warrior, unless he went insane. Sui Ping shook his head. I don't know. Sui Ping indeed didn't pay much attention to such details. Strength was the only thing mattered. No matter how fancy the tests were, a direct fight was the best solution. Fei Yanbo chuckled. I heard that the test this time is quite hard. Participants lower than the 5th rank will be eliminated directly. Oh. Fei Yanbo didn't continue this topic since Sui Ping didn't seem to be interested. He just took another look at the girl with Sui Ping. Soon, more and more people arrived at the A1 zone. Most were participants, which was clear from their ages. Companions like Fei Yanbo, who had obviously exceeded the age limit, were few and far between. Fei Yanbo explained to Sui Ping that not anyone could go there to accompany the participants. Only master battle pet warriors or those with a strong background could be there. Others would have to wait in boredom outside the venue or go back home to watch the live stream. Sui Ping realized that Cheng Shuanglin must have treated him as a VIP to let him enter this area. He had not realized that this seemingly simple matter could be so complicated in reality. No wonder he barely saw other parents there. It is true that the powerful cannot see the unspoken rules. Only the weak can tell how thick the mist is above their heads, Sui Ping exclaimed to himself. It was about noon. The sun was shining. Master battle pet warriors approached the stage to activate the shield that would cover it. A blue, almost transparent shield rose and enveloped the entire stage. The fighting stage was quite large, 10 times that of a football field. The venue was spacious. If the general public were there, they would feel that all they could see on the opposite side of the venue was a piece of a blur, as if over 10,000 meters were in between. They probably couldn't even see the massive logos of the sponsors and the S on the ground. It's about to begin. Fei Yanbo's eyes glowed in anticipation. Luo Fengtian and the others became excited. An airboat suddenly flew in from the outside. There was something like a hot air balloon above the airboat, and standing inside were the hosts. Hi, everyone! The initial match at the Crescent Zone of Longjiang Base City qualification trials for the 52nd International Elite League begins, now. The name of the match was Long. When the word begins was said, everyone present at the venue started to cheer. Then, the host's eloquent and emotional introduction aroused people's enthusiasm. A lively atmosphere was felt throughout the venue. Soon, hosts began to announce the rules of the initial match. The first round was a knockout match. 1,000 participants would be selected randomly to get onto the stage. 300 phantom bees would be released into the stage. All of them would be grown-up phantom bees at the intermediate position of the 5th rank. Among the phantom bees, 100 of them would be carrying a tiny pass. Anyone able to defeat the phantom bees and get the pass would enter the following rounds. The first round was a selection to eliminate those below the 5th rank. For most of the ordinary students that were there for the fun, this was a rank that they could not reach. This round would discourage those people. The phantom bees were fast, and they had poison stings that could paralyze people. Anyone who got stung would be incapacitated. As the rules were read, many began to scream and whine. Countless students felt they had lost all hope. That round had robbed them of a chance to enter the stage for a one-on-one battle. 305th rank beasts, 1000 participants, 100 can move up to the next round, a 1 in 10 chance. So Lingyu was worried. Although Suiping had given her the Moonfrost Dragon, she was at the 4th rank, and that was the truth. She might have to be carried off the stage by the paramedics. Fei Yanbo heard So Lingyu's words. This isn't a 1 in 10 chance, but a 1 in 1,000 chance. Once the Phantom Bees work as a team, then all of the 1,000 participants may fail. Maybe no one will be able to pass. After all, those bees can work together, whereas the participants have to compete against the pets as well as each other. Fei Yanbo's words made So Lingyu feel even more nervous and scared. Bzzz. People heard something buzzing above the stage. Everyone raised their heads, only to see a thick, dark cloud approaching. When the cloud was clear enough, people recognized that it was a colony of phantom bees. All of the phantom bees were at the mature stage, and each bee was about 1 meter long. Their wings were transparent and flipped at a high frequency. The phantom bees could use wind blade, an inborn skill. The people who were chatting along quieted down in an instant, as they all stared at this cloud in utter astonishment. The phantom bees flew past the host's airboat without attacking and stopped outside the shield covering the stage. Several people standing by the stage adjusted some settings of the shield. The half-transparent, blue shield disappeared, letting phantom bees fly in. When all the bees were within the bounds of the stage, the shield was reactivated to keep them all inside. The 305th rank phantom bees hovered above the stage like a mass of dark clouds. Many participants were getting chills and goosebumps. The surround sound effect of all the buzzing was enough to make people shudder with fear. Is this the primary match? This is horrifying. They are the phantom bees, 300 of them. I cannot believe this. People can die in this, right? Many participants had turned pale and gotten cold feet. Same as the others, the colony of 5th rank beasts filled So Lingyu with dread. Not even an advanced battle pet warrior could have survived in a siege of this colony of beasts, not to mention the fact that she was merely at the 4th rank. At the same time, the thought that she would not be alone on the stage did set her mind at ease, at least for a bit. She had encountered many formidable beasts when she visited the barren area. As such, she could bear the harsh environments better than many students who had yet to leave the base city at least once. Hey, why can those phantom bees fly over so orderly? Are they being manipulated? Who can control this large colony of phantom bees? So Lingyu asked Suiping. Suiping rolled his eyes at her. Who are you calling hey now? So Lingyu had never expected that Suiping's focus was on how she called him. She pouted, though she did chuckle to herself. Nevertheless, on her face, she still wore that casual look as she snorted, implying that there was nothing wrong with her calling him hey when he referred to her as this squirt. That was to call it even. Her words reached Fei Yanbo's ears. He turned around, smiled at her, and was about to answer her question when he heard Suiping saying, "You need to know your place, or I will make you. See the chubbier one in the middle? That is the leader of those phantom bees, and it is tamed. Someone is manipulating this colony by controlling the leader." Leader. This came as a surprise to So Lingyu. However, that colony of phantom bees made her dizzy, and she couldn't tell which one was the leader at all. Still, since Suiping had said so, then it was probably true. That was the only working explanation for how the 300 phantom bees were under control. Otherwise, not even a titled battle pet warrior could have signed a contract with 300 beasts. It would break people's minds. The words stayed on the tip of Fei Yanbo's tongue since Suiping had responded before he could. Fei Yanbo showed a polite smile. No wonder Suiping was a titled battle pet warrior. He could pick out the leader in that crowd of phantom bees. His super sight was shocking enough. As the colony of phantom bees entered the stage, the tension increased. The hosts had begun to randomly select the first 1,000 participants, and their names were going to show up on the giant screens by the stage entrance. Many people were as pale as ashes. They felt this wasn't a test for them. That was to choose 1,000 lucky people to risk their lives. When the participants registered their names at the entrance, they were all assigned a number. Soon, countless numbers began to roll on the screen. Now and then, 1 or 2 numbers would stand out, and the judge would read it and ask the corresponding participants to get onto the stage. Soon, 1,000 participants were picked out. They went down one after another from the 8 staging zones and waited outside by the stage. A square-shaped entrance opened up in the shield. The advanced battle pet warriors that were guarding by the edge of the shield instructed the participants to get inside. This huge crowd had filled up half of the area. Standing on the stage were 1,000 people, and flying above them were the 300 phantom bees. The shield's entrance was closed. The hosts standing on the airboat sounded emotionally wrought up. The huge loudspeakers placed across the venue spread their words to every corner: the qualification trials, ready, go. BZZZ. BZZZ. It seemed that the phantom bees hovering in the sky received some order because, after a short pause, they all dove down and hurled out the many poisonous stings that poured down like heavy rain. The participants standing on the ground were going to face the first round of assault. Most participants had summoned their pets as soon as they stepped onto the stage. Pets of the stone family had set up earth shields, those of the fire family began to breathe fire, and those of the fire family had built up a scorching wall to protect their masters. Of all the battle pets summoned, most were pets of the element family. The element family was a big one that included a huge variety of pets. At the moment, all sorts of skills were unleashed, contending in beauty and fascination. Gorgeous rays of light generated by those skills shone brightly on the stage. After the first wave of attacks by those poisonous stings, 200 to 300 people had collapsed on the ground, paralyzed and unable to fight. Apart from the strong paralyzing effect, the poisonous stings had potent penetrating power as well. Those with low levels of defense could not have fended off the stings. Participants who had fallen victim to the poisonous stings had to receive timely treatment, or else they would suffer from the after effect when too much poison stayed within their bodies. Half of their bodies could end up paralyzed for the rest of their lives. But after the test, when the participants were carried off the stage, they would be given specially designed antidotes. Roar! All of a sudden, some roars broke out from the crowd. Someone had summoned an 8th-rank earthen dragon. It wasn't a pure-blood dragon, but it did have some dragon bloodline. The roar scared away a large number of phantom bees surrounding them, and they changed directions to other targets. The phantom bees had mixed themselves in the crowd. They were striking the participants with wind blades and poisonous stings. Some unlucky battle pet warriors of the 3rd rank were being besieged by several phantom bees and almost lost their lives within an instant. Su Ping could tell that those were artificially bred phantom bees, instead of wild ones. They were less violent. Otherwise, the stage would have been full of dead bodies, since over half of the participants were low-rank battle pet warriors. Soon enough, the first group of participants finished the test. The phantom bees were lenient. Even so, after the test, merely dozens could remain standing on the stage. Of those people, some did manage to hang on till the end by relying on their pets. However, they were unable to actively attack the phantom bees to snatch the pass. Some had grabbed several passes, and there were no phantom bees that dared to move close to those people. Dead bodies of phantom bees surrounded them, proof enough about who were the most capable participants. Those who were carrying the stretchers were a type of pet frequently used in Grade A Class 3 hospitals, the eider cable grass. Eider cable grass was a kind of pet of the plant family with a 3rd-rank bloodline. They were not particularly skillful in battle, but came with healing skills, such as anesthesia, the ability to stop bleeding, and initial medical treatment. Because of their mild nature, this type of pet had been removed from the list of battle pets and was regarded at the moment as a living companion. The living companion pets could be everywhere across the streets and alleyways. They had no battle power but had ornamental value, or could perform other functions. Some pets could pave the road, some could heal wounds, and some could work as GPS to guide the visually impaired people. The good-natured Ader cable grasses ran back and forth and carried away all the wounded participants off the stage. Those who had grabbed the passes went to the working staff in the venue. The working staff logged the names of who had qualified for the second round into the system. Those names and their profile photos in the system were on display on the screens by the stage. Suaping took a look. Of the first 1,000 participants, merely 30-some people made it to the next round. The elimination rate was roughly leaving just one batch from 30. Those dead phantom bees were dragged down like this. Solingyu cast a look at the phantom bees that some participants had killed. Somehow, she was bothered. Fei Yanbo tried to comfort her. Don't worry. They will make up for the lost phantom bees soon enough. Those pets multiply quickly. All the branch venues have more than enough prepared. Solingyu gave him one look and then turned back to see the phantom bees' corpses that were being disposed of like garbage. She said nothing else. For a while, Suaping kept gazing at the dead phantom bees as people loaded them into some trucks to dispose of them. When he looked away, his eyebrows were knitted together. Soon, the names of the second group of participants were on display on the screens. My turn now. Same here. Luo Fengtian and another young man sitting next to Fei Yanbo stood up. Luo Fengtian kept a straight face, exuding confidence. Compared to the last time Suaping had met him, Luo Fengtian was less haughty, but the look in his eyes was sharper. It never crossed his mind that he wouldn't be able to pass the first round. He did not worry. Given his strength, passing was a sure thing, the one-on-one battles were the main challenge. Fei Yanbo said to his students, be careful. If you can, grab as many passes as you can to eliminate some incapable opponents. That will save you some time for the following rounds. Sure. Luo Fengtian nodded. The other young man nodded with a smile as well, showing no worries. Suaping watched as the two of them entered the stage. After all participants arrived, the shield opened up to let everyone in. Those with their names on the screen but did not step onto the stage had forfeited their right, which was not surprising. Without going into the shield, they could not get the pass and thereby could no longer be part of the competition. In the sky, the phantom bees were flying over. As Fei Yanbo had mentioned, the lost phantom bees were substituted by others. Same as before, the strikes began. Soon, hundreds of participants had fallen. Suaping closed his eyes to have a rest after a short while. He wasn't interested in that boring game. On the contrary, Solingyu kept her eyes wide open and watched what was going on attentively. She was paying particular attention to Luo Fengtian and that young man with him. She knew their abilities and was familiar with them since the two had tried out the challenge previously. 15 minutes later, the test ended. Over 100 people remained standing on the stage, including Luo Fengtian and the young man. The young man was panting. Beside him was a grey bear at the 6th rank. The ferocious bear smashed many phantom bees to death. Luo Fengtian's white outfit was clean, without a drop of blood. With the sword, he slew several phantom bees. Crouching by his feet was a small lion, a pet with a 5th rank bloodline. At the moment, the lion had yet to reach the peak of the 5th rank. Even so, with the help of the lion, Luo Fengtian was able to accomplish the task with ease, passing the test which was essentially a warm-up exercise for him. Afterward, the working staff logged their information in the system and projected it to the screen. Both returned to the staging area. The young man with the bear said gaily, "Sir, I got 6 passes." Fei Yanbo smiled as a reply and looked at Luo Fengtian. Luo Fengtian kept emotionless as he sat down and answered, 13. No kidding? That's more than twice what I got, the young man shouted. Luo, you rock, especially after you came back from the mysterious realm. Luo Fengtian shot a glance at him, as if unhappy that the young man had used the words "you rock" to address him. Fei Yanbo laughed heartily. Still, when he glanced over Suiping, who closed his eyes and rested his mind, the laugh vanished. No matter how good his students were, they could never compete with this guy. Coming up was the third round. This time, another of Fei Yanbo's students went onto the stage, and naturally, he passed with ease. Of all the students that came with Fei Yanbo, even the weakest was at the 5th rank, and they were all in the 3rd year of their school. Their pets were mostly of the 6th rank or even the 7th rank. Therefore, to pass the initial match was a piece of cake. The 5th round came to an end. The girl with the ponytail went back and sat down by Fei Yanbo while she said a number casually, 22. Fei Yanbo was surprised to hear the number. Good, he said, smiling. The other students didn't seem to find her achievements strange. They offered her some compliments with a smile. Luo Fengtian didn't say much to the girl. He looked at the man sitting to Fei Yanbo's right. The man had his eyes closed. Luo Fengtian batted his eyes and soon looked away. He leaned against his chair and also closed his eyes. The girl gazed at Luo Fengtian. It was interesting to see that Luo Fengtian didn't seem to be pleased with her score. Soon, the names were drawn for the 6th group. Not long afterward, one of the hosts mentioned Sol Lingyu's name. Her name and her number showed up on the screen. The number assigned to the participants was to ensure that no mistakes would occur, even if some people of the same surname and given name were there. Suiping didn't sleep well the night before. Hence, he had been resting to attain mental tranquility. He opened his eyes upon hearing Sol Lingyu's name.